Boom! As the massive fire lion with a body size of 1,000 zhong and the enormous scaled wings collided, a wave of violent power tilted down from the sky. The terrifying energy shattered parts of the void below, instantly engulfing and pulverizing the demonic beasts that were too close to the center of the battle. Whether it was the raging fire lion or the scaled wings, the energy contained within both was enough to make even an early 8-star Do Xian powerhouse feel fear. Crackle! Just as the fire lion and the enormous scaled wings were about to touch, a figure bathed in amber flames resisted the terrifying energy ripples, swiftly writhing and darting through the air like a ghost. What kind of power is this? This is bad. The scaled demon commander watched in shock as Xiao Yan actually managed to hold his ground against an attack of this magnitude. His eyes flickered with disbelief. Before his astonishment could fade, he suddenly felt an eerie and powerful force countering the violent explosions of the two attacks, sweeping toward him. Crack! Xiao Yan's speed was immense, and his soul power was fatal to most demonic beasts. Therefore, below him, the army of 100,000 demonic beasts could only witness a figure like an ancient, invincible scaled demon war god above them. At this moment, however, the 1,000 zhong scaled wings behind him began to melt rapidly, as if drained of power, with noticeable cracks appearing on the wings, which exploded with the sound of shattering crystal stones. The sensation was like that of a fragile woman with no strength to crush a chicken, yet the terrifying scaled wings behind her were easily torn apart. Heart-wrenching roars echoed, shaking the hearts of countless demonic beasts. Not good. That's soul power. Scaled demon, retreat. From a distance, the enchanting flame demon commander, who was engaged with the heavenly fox demon commander, immediately sensed something and cried out in alarm. Her beautiful eyes revealed a look of disbelief, her delicate hand raised to roar at the sky. Unfortunately, her soul power had no effect on Xiao Yan. The power Xiao Yan had just unleashed was undoubtedly soul power, and it made even her feel uneasy. Such soul power had immense destructive potential against the scaled demon commander. After all, aside from demonic beasts who trained in soul power for their ocular techniques, few demonic beasts ever wasted time on soul cultivation. As the aftershocks of the battle slowly dissipated, many demonic beasts below looked up, their eyes filled with horror. The mighty demon commander, yet so easily defeated. In an instant, a voice filled with arrogance rang out, accompanied by a cold, weakening figure that projected toward the evil-eyed demon king. Bang! 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 With a casual throw, Xiao Yan sent the scaled demon commander flying. Lord, the scaled demon commander's monster core was taken. Her power is gone. She has fallen. After a pause, several high-ranking members of the evil-eyed demon horde, standing beside the evil-eyed demon king, caught the scaled demon commander's body. After a careful examination, they trembled as they spoke. Good, 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 Xiao Yan. You've made me lose several generals. Today, this king will tear you into pieces, drink your blood, and use your corpse and ribs to create a cursed object, to honor the souls of my fallen comrades. At this moment, the evil-eyed demon king's clear eyes flashed with intense fury. He could never have imagined that a mere early 7-star Do Xian would easily annihilate two perfect 7-star Do Xian demonic generals and even cause the fall of the scaled demon commander, an early 8-star Do Xian. King, let us handle this. Your power still needs. Seeing the evil-eyed demon king in such a state of rage, the high-ranking members of his personal guard couldn't help but speak up hastily. If a mere early 7-star Do Xian could provoke such a response from the evil-eyed demon king, their reputation would be utterly destroyed if word of this got out. Do you want more of our generals to die? This guy wields the sacred flame and possesses netherworld creatures, and he's a practitioner of soul power. You're no match for him. I will personally eliminate him. The evil-eyed demon king declared, standing up from his position. With a slight movement, he vanished and reappeared high above the battlefield, exuding the aura of a deity about to slay an unforgivable fiend. At the same time, countless demonic beasts below stared up at his figure. As the evil-eyed Demon King shattered the void with his steps, it felt as though every inch of the battlefield fell silent. This is the evil-eyed Demon King of the mid-8-star Docian level, one of the top powerhouses among the 10 factions of the monster realm, with terrifying power that rivals the legends. Whoosh. Finally willing to make a move, huh? I thought you were just a coward who values your own life, only sending your subordinates to their deaths. Xiao Yan gazed at the extremely docile, evil-eyed Demon King in front of him, his bloodline uncontrollably trembling and boiling. His voice carried a rare oppression, and even without making a move or deliberately sensing it, Xiao Yan could still feel an incredibly terrifying pressure coming from the evil-eyed Demon King's surroundings. This pressure didn't just come from strength, but from the soul itself. It felt as though the evil-eyed Demon King was an insurmountable mountain, a gap between them as wide as an uncrossable chasm. You sharp-tongued brat. But I, the king, hereby announce that your life will end right here. A gentle voice emanated from the evil-eyed Demon King's mouth, but the plain power within it was enough to freeze the very void and even the blood inside the demonic beasts' bodies. At this moment, the evil-eyed Demon King, clad in a silver-white robe, with clear eyes that perpetually emitted an aura of supreme strength, exuded a terrifying anger. This anger was not something a mere early 7-star Docian could match or withstand. In an instant, the entire battlefield, whether it was the 1,000 demonic beasts controlled by the charm behind Xiao Yan or the 100,000 demonic beasts below, all tensed up, gazing at the figure before them with deep reverence and respect. Come. Let me see if the evil-eyed Demon King of the mid-8-star Docian level is as terrifying as the rumors say. High in the sky, the deadly silence was soon broken by Xiao Yan's voice, which seemed as if he was prepared to face death itself. Lord Xiao Yan. At this moment, the Heavenly Fox Demon Commander was also completely bound by the charming Demon Commander. On the battlefield, only the Dark Nether soldiers blocking the Stone Ghoul Demon Commander and the evil-eyed Demon King, standing tall in the sky, remained. At this moment, it was truly a one-man battle against 100,000. Who would be the victor in this battle? Mid-8-star Docian. I'm looking forward to it. Xiao Yan's fiery pupils glowed, and he couldn't resist licking his dry lips, then stared unblinkingly at the evil-eyed Demon King. Not to mention anything else. Just this aura made Xiao Yan's scalp tingle. But with the 3 great treasures gifted by the Demon King of 10,000 demons, he was ready for battle. Moreover, against an opponent like the evil-eyed Demon King, who mainly used soul power and eye techniques, Xiao Yan felt a strong, battle-hungry desire rising in his heart. Not only do you carry the aura of a demon emperor's divine artifact within you, but you even possess the essence of netherworld creatures and sacred flames. These things are nothing but a waste in your hands. After your fall, I'll enjoy them on your behalf. So, die. The final word fell, and a cold killing intent flooded the area. The evil-eyed Demon King's surroundings twisted violently, and his figure shot towards Xiao Yan. Even though the evil-eyed Demon King was not primarily a close-quarters combat expert, facing an early 7-star Docian with his mid-8-star Docian power, this battle seemed to have no suspense. Whoosh! A black shadow flashed past Xiao Yan, a pale hand curving directly towards him, carrying an icy energy wave as cold as a 1,000-year-old ice cave. Fiery explosion technique. Basha's mark. Seeing the evil-eyed Demon King approach with overwhelming killing intent, Xiao Yan did not dare to let his guard down. His speed surged, and a dazzling tortoise-shaped water curtain surrounded him for protection. Overestimating yourself. Seeing that the tortoise-shaped water curtain temporarily blocked his attack, the evil-eyed Demon King sneered, raising his hand. Countless clear waters surged from his body, then exploded, transforming into invisible energy ripples that took the shape of light swords, striking towards Xiao Yan. The murderous aura contained within was enough to shake even a true 8-star Docian. Seems like it's still too much for me. At this moment, as Xiao Yan looked at the incoming attacks, a tired expression appeared on his face. Clearly, even with his numerous techniques, as an early 7-star Docian, he couldn't fight an opponent of the evil-eyed Demon King's mid-8-star Docian level. However, beneath that tiredness, a frantic and wild wave began to stir within him. Have you given up? Then become dust under my attack. Thud. Just as the terrifying attack was about to reach Xiao Yan, who was only a few dozen meters away, his palm emerged, holding a brilliant, crimson pill radiating immense energy. Through the pill, a terrifying aura that would make even the strongest of warriors jealous slowly began to spread. Divine Armor Defense Plate. Xiao Yan snorted coldly, and in the next moment, a silver armor enveloped his body, sealing him tightly. After a brief moment, Xiao Yan's gaze turned cold, his lips curling into a slight sneer, and he swallowed the crimson pill without hesitation. Boom, boom, boom. As soon as the crimson pill entered his body, an extreme power, like a slumbering dragon, slowly began to awaken. At the same time, Xiao Yan's aura, which had previously been weak, began to rise steadily. Mid 7-star Dosien. Early 8-star Dosien. In just a few breaths of time, Xiao Yan's strength surged, reaching the early 8-star Dosien level. With the protection of the Divine Armor Defense Plate, Xiao Yan's combat and defensive abilities were far beyond what they had been moments ago. Oh, a pill that forcibly enhances strength? One whole level? The side effects must be significant, right? Seeing all his attacks instantly shattered by Xiao Yan's sudden 8-star Dosien aura, the evil-eyed Demon King sneered, his voice filled with unquestionable mockery. It seemed that even now, Xiao Yan still didn't deserve his full attention. The side effects are indeed severe, but if the price is your life, it's still worth it. At this moment, a dangerous smile curled on Xiao Yan's lips as he spoke slowly. The effect of the breaking nightmare pill lasted only the length of an incense stick. If he couldn't defeat the evil-eyed Demon King within that time, his fate would likely be very tragic. Take this. Sacred Flame Prison Cage. Without hesitation, Xiao Yan's body trembled as amber flames gathered in his palm. Under his precise control, they transformed into a skyful of fiery shackles, shooting towards the evil-eyed Demon King. The divine aura within these flames was far beyond what his previous 7-star Dosien aura could compare to. A mere ant is still just an ant. No matter how it struggles in the end, it's just a waste of time. Seeing Xiao Yan's terrifying attack, the evil-eyed Demon King's eyes gleamed with a hint of light. After a moment, he shot toward Xiao Yan, releasing a terrifying power from his eyes. In an instant, Xiao Yan found himself completely immobile. Boom! The amber flames of the Sacred Flame Prison Cage collided with the mysterious power, and immediately, the two forces clashed. The amber flames were ultimately engulfed by the mysterious, colorless light. This light, showing no sign of stopping, continued to shatter the void and moved toward Xiao Yan. Soul Power Attack? At this moment, Xiao Yan's face darkened as he coldly stared at the evil-eyed Demon King, who hovered in the air above him. It seemed this guy was gathering an enormous amount of soul power, preparing to unleash a terrifyingly powerful attack. Since it's come to this, Xiao Yan smiled faintly, then suddenly, a vast surge of sacred flame essence poured out, obliterating the invisible light. But from that brief moment of contact, Xiao Yan realized the true strength of his opponent. Late stage of the Void Soul Power. This level of strength, combined with his mid-8-star Dosien power, truly made Xiao Yan feel the pressure. Bring it on. In the next moment, from the battle core inside Xiao Yan's Doqi Si, the undying flame sparked with a faint yellow light. At the same time, an ancient, eternal aura slowly emanated from his body. The faint ripples seemed unstoppable, as though they could defy anything. These two. Below, the 100,000-strong demonic beast army watched in awe as Xiao Yan fought evenly with the evil-eyed Demon King. They couldn't help but murmur. However, after a quick glance at the evil-eyed Demon King's eyes, filled with a chilling, surging power that slowly began to form like vast stars, they finally sighed in relief. After using his eye technique, anyone below mid-8-star Dosien would be utterly destroyed, and the number of demonic beasts or humans that had perished from that single strike would be no less than 100. To force me to use my origin eye technique against you, even if you fall here, it will still be something to be proud of. Evil-eyed ghost light. With these words, the evil-eyed Demon King's eyes turned as white as snow. The next moment, a piercing roar suddenly erupted, accompanied by two beams of colorless ghostly light shooting from his eyes. The colorless light seemed like a calm, ordinary arc of light, but it had already locked onto Xiao Yan before it was even fully formed. Xiao Yan was the only one who understood. Inside that light lay a power second only to reincarnation. It was annihilation, immortal, golden body. The colorless, faint glow moved slowly, and wherever it passed, the space collapsed. Countless forces quietly bowed down, but at the same time, Xiao Yan's solemn aura and a deafening roar, accompanied by a golden giant towering at 1,000 feet, appeared in the void. The sensation was like something immortal, unchanged since the beginning of time. Boom. At this moment, in the depths of the dark, heavenly abyss battlefield, bright beams of light flashed, not only from the evil-eyed Demon King's bursting evil-eye aura, but also from Xiao Yan's sky-raising golden giant. The temperature soared in an instant, and due to the clash between the two, the barren land was swept by a violent wind, with flying sand and rocks scattered everywhere. The oppressive force contained within was chilling, even sending shivers down the spine. All troops, retreat 10 miles. Seeing this, the Enchantress Demon Commander sneered. The dense, million-strong demonic beast army rose from the ground, kicking up a towering black smoke and dust along the way. The colorless glow shot from the evil-eyed Demon King's eyes, easily piercing through the void, heading straight for Xiao Yan. However, his body appeared to be fixed and bound in the sky, motionless. In contrast, Xiao Yan immediately withdrew all of his strength, relying on his temporary early 7-star Docian power to wrap the immortal flame around his immortal golden body and unleash its power. The golden, 1,000-foot-tall sky-raising giant had a faint yellow immortal flame burning fiercely around it, standing unyieldingly through time, invincible. Boom. When the two beams of evil-eye aura struck the outermost layer of Xiao Yan's immortal golden body, a sharp, ear-piercing sound suddenly erupted. This sound, even from a distance, shook the souls of the million-strong demonic beast army. If they had been at the center of the battlefield, they would have been instantly annihilated by such a terrifying attack. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two dark beams of evil light unleashed brilliant offensive power, yet their speed was almost negligible. Immediately, a circle of dark firestorms erupted at the point where the two forces clashed. The power contained within seemed to connect to the most destructive force of the heavens and earth, spinning wildly in an instant. With each rotation, the space trembled, twisted, and even began to break apart. Damn it! Xiao Yan gritted his teeth and said, his body tense. The strength of the immortal golden body was tied to his physical power, which, although formidable, was enhanced further by the immortal flame. However, facing the evil-eyed light, a tingling sensation crept across his scalp. Had it not been for Xiao Yan's gritted teeth holding on, and his dragon god transformation and Bashia's mark providing multiple layers of enhancement, or if the evil-eyed Demon King's soul power had broken through to the void realm, Xiao Yan might have been completely overwhelmed by this attack. Unfortunately, since the evil-eyed Demon King's strongest attack couldn't defeat Xiao Yan, the outcome of this battle had already been clearly decided. Crash! The two forces were locked in a stalemate, but the terrifying firestorm, carrying the destructive soul power, rampaged across the battlefield. In an instant, countless weak spatial rifts appeared and vanished throughout the area. Explode for me! Watching Xiao Yan's immortal golden giant, wrapped in sacred flames, the evil-eyed Demon King's eyes held a complex expression of shock. He roared. This was his most powerful attack, one that had slain many 8-star Docian in the past. How could it fail to kill even a mere 7-star Docian? Boom. Suppress. At the same time, Xiao Yan gritted his teeth, letting out a furious low growl like a wild beast. Bang, bang, bang. In an instant, countless immortal flames and evil-eye light beams interwoven, producing a terrifying, heart-pounding shockwave that spread out. Where the two forces collided, it was like the human heart suddenly contracting, then bursting out violently. In the dazzling fireworks, the breaths of immortality and annihilation could be felt. Evil-eyed Demon King, the final strike. The golden giant's aura was now weak, the faint yellow immortal flame flickering as if it had suffered heavy injury. Xiao Yan's expression turned cold, his eyes flashing with a cold, blood-red killing intent, and he roared with a frenzied tone. Weak. Seeing Xiao Yan in this state, clearly at the end of his strength, the evil-eyed Demon King laughed. Killing you is enough. Xiao Yan instead smiled, and as he spoke, an ancient ruler emerged from his body. Leaping forward, he shot toward the evil-eyed Demon King. The ancient ruler was originally a product of fusion with the heavenly flames, but now, with the opening of its holy seal by a certain powerful being, Xiao Yan used the power of 5 sacred flames to unleash its might, shaking the heavens and earth. You're crazy. 5 types of sacred flames, combined with the sacred runes on the ancient ruler, had already surpassed his own strength to the point where he was truly moved. Rest assured, no matter the cost, today, you must die. Xiao Yan howled with a grim expression. Eyes of the evil king, defend. At this moment, the evil-eyed Demon King was flustered and quickly roared, as though he was truly about to be completely destroyed by this attack. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, a pure and gleaming light shield, 1,000 feet wide, once again surrounded the evil-eyed Demon King, releasing a powerful, solid aura. Ha ha ha! Although I miscalculated this time, still, this time, you lose. Demonic Beast Army, attack! Shrinking within his soul light shield, the evil-eyed Demon King showed his vicious claws, laughing madly. But even now, he didn't realize that his imposing presence, as one of the 10 great Demon Kings of the monster realm, had been thoroughly defeated by Xiao Yan's relentless potential. In this moment, the evil-eyed Demon King only wanted to completely erase Xiao Yan, no matter the cost. Boom! Hearing the command, the demonic beast army marched forward with heavy, steady steps, heading straight for Xiao Yan. Humph! Xiao Yan snorted coldly, his internal power gradually weakening. A heavy sensation spread across him. At the same time, strange humming sounds emanated from his forehead and the Doqi Sea, soothing and repairing his body. Boom, boom. The sacred runes on the ancient ruler glowed like a blazing sun, crashing heavily against the evil-eyed Demon King's soul light shield. Each impact added more fear to the once invincible Demon King's face, ghostly echoing heavenly illusions. With a sharp cry, a powerful soul attack struck the panicking evil-eyed Demon King. In the midst of his dazed state, a massive gap appeared in his soul light shield, and then, crack, crack. In just a moment, the sharp sound of shattering echoed across the sky. The countless demonic beasts that had been rushing towards Xiao Yan now stood still, holding their breath in stunned silence. Evil-eyed Demon King, die. Taking advantage of the crack in the shield, Xiao Yan unleashed the last surge of his early-stage 7-star Doxian power, which poured into the ancient ruler like a mighty dragon. Instantly, the previously dim ancient ruler shone brighter than the brightest stars in the sky. With the boost from the 5 sacred flames, his body moved like lightning, and the ruler aimed straight at the evil-eyed Demon King. 1-5. The 5 sacred flames coexist as one? No. Impossible. At this moment, seeing the overwhelming sacred flames and sacred runes emanating from Xiao Yan, the evil-eyed Demon King's pupils contracted. Helplessly shrinking beneath his shattered soul light shield, he cried out. The overwhelming power that enveloped him filled him with an innate fear. His soul power had no effect on Xiao Yan, meaning Xiao Yan was a powerhouse with extraordinary soul strength. And now, with the broken ancient ruler and the 5 sacred flames, this power was something he could never resist. Die! With the final remnants of his strength, Xiao Yan swung the ancient ruler, which tore through the soul light shield effortlessly. With irresistible force, it pierced the Demon King's body, annihilating both his physical body and soul in an instant. His essence, blood, and monster core were silently absorbed by the demonic cube. Boom, boom, boom. After several devastating strikes from the ancient ruler, the lifeless, cold body of the evil-eyed demon king, devoid of any warmth, plummeted toward the ground at terrifying speed. Thud. The icy corpse of the evil-eyed demon king hit the ground with such force that it shattered into a bloody mess, terrifying to behold. At this moment, the entire battlefield fell silent. The demonic beast army stood frozen, staring at the faint, yet seemingly invincible figure in the sky. That tall, slender silhouette, it was Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan, whose strength was only at the early stage 7-star duel. How is this possible? At this moment, the entire battlefield was deathly silent, not a sound to be heard. Who could have imagined that the supreme leader of one of the monster realm's 10 great powers would fall to a mere early-stage 7-star duel? The sheer disparity in strength was so vast that the demonic beast army could hardly believe it. Yet the reality was right before their eyes. At this moment, the 100,000 demonic beast army below, along with the remaining high-ranking members, stared in disbelief at Xiao Yan, whose figure was now weak, yet stood like an unbeatable ruler. A wave of uncontrollable rage and anger spread through them. Lord Xiao Yan, truly extraordinary. With my body, I will ignite the monster core. Wake up, our soldiers. At this moment, the heavenly fox demon commander snorted coldly, his high-pitched voice accompanied by a flicker of white fur. The sign was clear. He was sacrificing his life force to try to awaken the soldiers under his control. Where are we? Lord Xiao Yan, demon commander? When the heavenly fox demon commander's fur touched them, the faces of the 1,000 elite soldiers contorted in intense struggle. In an instant, the control of the enchantress demon commander was easily broken, and they returned to normal. One by one, they leaped out of the stunned state and headed towards Xiao Yan, who was now in the sky. Lord, how's the situation? The heavenly fox demon commander, glowing with a terrifying aura, jumped to Xiao Yan's side. His gaze was full of sincere and burning inquiry, as though his life was rapidly slipping away. You, Xiao Yan muttered weakly. Seeing the heavenly fox demon commander act this way, he was immediately shocked. It's fine. This is a treasure given to me by the demon king. Although it leaves some aftereffects, it is nothing compared to the great righteousness of Lord Xiao Yan, the heavenly fox demon commander said with a carefree smile. His voice carried an unmasked admiration and respect for Xiao Yan. But now, the situation may be more complicated than we imagined. Xiao Yan murmured with a dim look in his eyes. He had originally believed that after the death of the evil-eyed demon king, the demonic beast army would disband, and he could maneuver in the shadows to use their power for reinforcement at the ancient battlefield. However, with the fall of the evil-eyed demon king, the massive army of 100,000 demonic beasts tightened their bodies. Their eyes were filled with an overwhelming murderous aura that struck fear into the hearts of even the strongest present. Is it dead? At this moment, Stone Ghoul Demon Commander's body trembled violently, momentarily pushing back the dark nether soldier. Looking down at the disfigured and lifeless body of the evil-eyed Demon King, he exclaimed in disbelief. What should we do now? After attempting to rescue the Demon King, even Stone Ghoul and the Enchantress Demon Commander were helpless. The two high-ranking commanders murmured in frustration. Kill, kill, kill. Vengeance for the Lord. Just as the two commanders hesitated, a thunderous, earth-shattering roar sounded from behind them, followed by a violent, murderous aura from the army. It was like a death march, with soldiers who could take anyone's life at will. The army advances, kill them all. A roar rang out, and immediately, the 100,000 demonic beast army surged forward to attack Xiao Yan and the others, carrying an aura that might even surpass the evil-eyed demon kings. Lord. At this moment, the heavenly fox demon commander and his 1,000 elite soldiers looked at Xiao Yan, their demon eyes burning with a deep, determined crimson. The sense of death that filled the air made it clear that they were ready to sacrifice their lives without hesitation. Everyone. The Demon King is dead. If you are willing to surrender to us, We can offer you demonic beast blood to increase your power. Xiao Yan forced his body to stay upright, floating in the air as he addressed the terrifying demonic beast army below. Demonic beast blood? Could it be the demonic beast blood from the Demon Emperor Mausoleum? This Xiao Yan has entered the Demon Emperor Mausoleum, and with the defeat of the evil-eyed Demon King, this is... Before Xiao Yan could finish speaking, the vast army of demonic beasts, numbering in the hundreds of thousands, began to stir with excitement. After all, in the monster realm, power was supreme, and such a powerful figure was worth following and pledging allegiance to. If anyone dares to defy us, kill without mercy. With his keen soul perception, the Enchantress Demon Commander immediately struck down those whose hearts wavered. The speed of the attack was so swift that their very souls were annihilated. Kill. After the traitors were dealt with, the 100,000-strong demonic beast army dared not hesitate, encircling Xiao Yan and the others with overwhelming force. Damn! At this moment, Xiao Yan stood weakly in the air, looking at the Enchantress Demon Commander's ruthless actions. He spoke coldly, though his energy had already waned. The strength of this 100,000-strong demonic beast army was not weaker than the evil-eyed Demon King's. If anything, it was even more intimidating. Lord, leave these guys to us. You are so kind-hearted. Even if we must die, we will follow you to the end. Heavenly Fox Demon Tail. Explode. Mysterious Ape Body explode. In an instant, the 9 great demon generals and the Heavenly Fox Demon Commander, along with the 1,000 elites, burst into laughter. Their smiles were filled with absolute loyalty to Xiao Yan. You all. At that moment, Xiao Yan's voice suddenly turned hoarse and choked. Looking at the 1,000 elite soldiers behind him, who fearlessly charged into the encirclement of the 100,000 demonic beast army, using their lives to stop the advancing army, crimson blood streaks constantly appeared in Xiao Yan's eyes. His body couldn't help but tremble. Lord Demon Commander, these 1,000 elites seem prepared to perish with us. This fearless appearance, our army has already lost 1/20th of its forces, said a voice soon after. The entire demonic beast army suddenly surged into resistance, but the elite 1,000-strong unit managed to tear a gap in their ranks with the power they unleashed. Lord, please leave. At this moment, the 1,000 demonic beasts, driven by instinct and the murderous aura of fighting with their lives on the line, forcibly tore open a small gap. They then all cried out in unison, even if we fall here, as long as Lord Xiao Yan can escape, then it will all be worth it. I am the Demon Commander. I cannot leave my subordinates behind and escape alone, Xiao Yan declared resolutely. If we must leave, then we leave together. Xiao Yan's voice was firm, and at the same time, the fire and wood element battle cores within him began to uncontrollably shake. Lord, you can't let us perish in vain. We beg you, leave quickly. Seeing that the gap they had torn open with great difficulty was slowly being filled by the demonic beast army, these soldiers almost howled in agony. Enough of this nonsense. Since you've made up your minds, then I, your commander, will give you one final gift. Fireheart Heavenly Rock, arise. Ghost-faced Soul Flame, arise. Ethereal Ice Flame, arise. Undying Flame, arise. Undying Fire, arise. A series of loud, commanding voices rang out like the sound of a true divine being, carrying an unquestionable divine resonance that swept across the entire battlefield. Is this 5 holy flames? Impossible. At this moment, the demon commander of the Enchantress clan and Stone Ghoul both narrowed their eyes in shock, exclaiming, "Merge for me." With a violent tremor within his spiritual palace, Xiao Yan quickly merged the 5 colored flames under the gaze of countless eyes. After a brief moment, a faint lotus seed with 5 colored light appeared. As the lotus seed shimmered, the glowing patterns on Xiao Yan's forehead lit up brightly, and with a fierce shout, he declared, "Let it end here. 5 colored Buddha's fury reincarnation. Exterminate the ghosts and gods." A roar resounded through the heavens and earth. Along with the 5 colored lotus seed and the glowing patterns on his forehead, A destructive aura that overwhelmed the entire world filled the battlefield. Five-colored Buddha's fury, ghosts and gods perish. Let it end here. As the words left his mouth, Xiao Yan used the last of his strength to toss the five-colored lotus seed toward the 100,000 demonic beast army below. In that moment, the heavens and earth changed color. Countless space cracks appeared across the battlefield, and a chasm of 1,000 feet deep rose from the ground, as if the terrifying destructive power and energy contained within the five-colored lotus seed had surpassed the limits of this battlefield to contain. Vroom. With the last of his energy spent, Xiao Yan's body rapidly plummeted from the sky. At that moment, the glowing patterns on his forehead flickered as if some mysterious power had been activated, emitting a soft white halo that enveloped Xiao Yan completely. Meanwhile, the demonic cube within him erupted uncontrollably, floating quietly in the sky, releasing countless evil auras as if waiting for something. This is bad. Defend yourselves. Unite. The five-colored lotus seed fluttered slightly, each movement emitting a wave of five-colored fire arcs. Even the two demon commanders, both at the early 8-star Do Xian level, felt a sense of trepidation, immediately roaring, "This attack! No one can resist." The scorching five-colored fire arcs, bearing a divine and terrifying power, descended from the sky, filling the air with a thick sense of unease. Below, countless demonic beasts felt as if their chests were being scorched by the flames. "I regret it." At that moment, the enchantress demon commander trembled, her body quivering like a weak woman, panic in her eyes as she stared at the five-colored lotus seed. There is no such thing as regret in this world. Since that's the case, let's fight recklessly. Our soldiers shall fight to the death. Kill. Stone Ghoul, too, was no soft-hearted individual. With a cold snort, the 100,000 demonic beast army surged into a green tidal wave of demonic energy, rushing toward the five-colored lotus seed in the sky. This terrifying scene, like moths to a flame, made Xiao Yan's 1,000 elite soldiers behind him shiver. "Brothers, Lord Xiao Yan has thrown himself into life and death situations for us time and time again. Kill them." In the blink of an eye, the 1,000 elite soldiers, bloodied and battered, their eyes glowing crimson, used their last ounce of strength to suddenly entangle the enemy forces before them. But sadly, the brilliance of a firefly could never match the radiance of the full moon. No matter how many the enemy had, even with 100,000 demonic beasts, what of it? Without a leader? With the power of the five-colored sacred flames amplifying their strength, unless there were more than 5 8-star Do Xians, there was no way to break free. Below, on the barren land, in the void, countless weak bodies, resembling crawling insects, surged forth. Even when burned to the bone or reduced to dust by the five-colored fire arcs, they continued to writhe, a relentless stream of demonic beasts charging toward the fire lotus. Corpses, stark white bones, and dust piled up from the countless fallen elites of the demonic beast army, creating a terrifying scene that sent chills down one's spine. Meanwhile, above in the sky, the five-colored fire lotus remained as powerful as ever, while the 100,000 demonic beast army below had already lost more than 1/5 of their forces. "Let it bloom completely," Xiao Yan said softly, nodding his head. His hands suddenly reached out into the void, as if grasping something, and with a firm squeeze. Boom, boom, boom. With this strike, the dark void shattered instantly. The fire lotus shrank, like a heartbeat, before suddenly bursting open, a magnificent display like fireworks. No, no, no. As the five-colored fire lotus exploded, the entire void cracked and shattered. Waves of holy flame poured out, a surging tidal force of intense divine energy scattering in all directions. Swoosh, swoosh. The five-colored Buddha's fury reincarnation gave the remaining demonic beast army no chance to breathe. Bathed in holy fire, like the first light before dawn, it gently enveloped their bodies. Then, without pain, without intense fluctuations, they vanished. The 100,000 demonic beast army, instantly defeated without a fight. Boom. In an instant, The previously silent evil demon cube in the sky roared with madness, charging forward, its holy fire taking the first step, flying towards the demonic army below, now transformed into black smoke. Voom, voom. The space energy formed by the five-colored Buddha's fury reincarnation continued to devour the demonic beast army. Startled by the evil demon cube, the holy fire surged magnificently, attacking the cube with full force. When the five-colored sacred fire reached the evil demon cube, there was no reaction. The evil demon cube continued to absorb the strength of the 100,000 demonic beasts below. Once the cube had absorbed enough, the demonic beasts' breaths were faint, and they were completely consumed by the sacred fire. At this moment, the 100,000 demonic beast army was reduced to nothing, turning to dust. Boom! The blazing fire engulfed the battlefield like a fiery purgatory, scorching everything in the heavenly abyss battlefield to nothing. Even the sinister, evil auras in the battlefield were obliterated by the sacred flame. Whoosh! Looking at this scene, Xiao Yan let out a slight sigh of relief. He knew that if he hadn't eradicated these forces, with only 1,000 elites remaining, they would have been the ones to perish. The survival of the fittest, an unchanging truth since time immemorial. As the sacred flame's energy tides continued to purify the evil aura in the battlefield, Xiao Yan noticed the evil demon cube suddenly return to his hand. The evil demon cube now had a dark sheen to it, and it felt significantly heavier than before. Gulch, is it full? After a moment, spiritual power flowed into it, and a wave of extreme evil energy spread through Xiao Yan's body. He soon realized that the cube's space had been completely filled. Lord, we've won. Looking at Xiao Yan's figure in the sky, several hundred elite soldiers simultaneously smiled, their noses tinged with emotion. They looked up at the figure of the thin, black-clad man above them. At this moment, nothing was more joyous than the feeling of surviving a calamity. The black-clad man's body seemed to contain the strength to defy everything, and the remaining near 700 elites knew that without Xiao Yan, they would have died multiple times over. This man was undeniably the commander of the three armies. Rest in place. Tian Hu, take out everything from the Demon Emperor's mausoleum. Once rested, head directly to the final battlefield. Xiao Yan smiled. The demon commander is wise.